All right, so more on the atheist topic of the internet atheists coming to my videos for a challenge. And I think the thumbnail that I put on this video with this meme, this famous meme of the atheist that wears a shirt that says, "I'm atheist, debate me," is fitting for this because, that's what these atheists do. They come to my video and they post text comments continuously. Their point seems to be just to debate, just to argue, just to, have some sort of a I won type of thing. Whatever. I guess I really don't see the point. What I told 66 Rabid Monkey here is that, he came tonight to preach Zen Buddhism to me and how it's not a religion, how, it doesn't take faith, it doesn't have worship, all this. It's like, all right, dude, cool. But why tell me about it? It's not my bag. It's not my thing. I've studied it enough to know that it's just not my thing. It does have a derivative of Hinduism. I spent 2 years living with Hindus. I did a lot of research on Buddhism. I'm not a expert, and I don't want to be. It's not my thing. I get it enough to know that that's just not my path. But it is apparently his path. He talks about the time he spent in school researching it and all this, and he knows this and he knows that. And how dare I pretend to know anything about it because he's the expert? That's the gist of it that I get. And I've had this before. I've got this in-law who, touted for years, "I'm an expert because I went to college for 10 years and I got 3 degrees and a master's and a PhD," or, whatever BS he was making up at the time that wasn't true. But their point is just to, raise their level of credentials so that they feel superior in debates, it sounds like. Aside from getting, student loans and government grants and all that, I think these people who go to school and, are very proud of it, that's, the main topic of their accomplishments in life is how they went to school. But when they get out, they do nothing with it. I went to school. I was working for Microsoft before I started college, and they said, "Hey, if you go to college, you get an associate's degree or even a bachelor's degree, we'll raise your wage." So I did. I got some network certifications, and before I even got the certifications, I, raised my job level from tier 1 to tier 3. And I got the pay raise without getting the degree. So I didn't complete my education. But that wasn't the point. It wasn't to have bragging rights. It was to elevate my career because I enjoyed computers and networking, and I like to, fix problems and do data analysis and, work on hardware, work on software, fix bugs, find bugs, whatever. That was my passion. It wasn't, that I wanted to go to school to prove that I knew more than the next guy did, or whatever, because I had a goal in mind. My goal was to change the world for the better, even if it was just my own life, changing it for the better, and possibly helping others. And same thing with Christianity. When I found Jesus, it was basically by going to soup kitchens when I was a teenager and homeless. And these people inspired me. They were very caring and loving. They didn't get paid. They didn't have anything to prove. They just wanted to help people. They were inspired by God's love and Jesus and the way that Jesus, took care of people. And so they took that upon themselves to take care of kids, people that could do nothing for them in return. It was sure charity. They didn't get paid, and there was nothing that any of us kids could do in return for them. It was pure charity. And they were gratified by being able to help people. And that was it. That was their only motivation. And so when I found Jesus and, I found a relationship with him and I learned about his ministry, it wasn't about the afterlife. It wasn't about, am I going to get brownie points? It was more about his inspiring life. And so I started volunteering for soup kitchens. I worked for the Food and Care Coalition in Provo, Utah. Donated my time for no other reason than just to do it. When me and my wife got together, we donated our time to Pikes Peak Park Baptist Church in Colorado Springs. We fed 80 people every Wednesday and Saturday, actually. And we enjoyed it. We did all the cooking. I think we had a helper every once in a while, but mostly it was just us, and we very much enjoyed it. We didn't get paid. We didn't have any, real gratification, materially. We just enjoyed helping, and so, I mean, that was it for us. I mean, we used what we were given for something greater than us. And so that's what I've encouraged like 66 Rabid Monkey to do. I'm like, hey man, you come to my videos a lot and you tell me how, it's not worth your time to come here because I don't know what I'm talking about. That's his, his words is basically, oh, you're a pot smoker. It's messing you up, man. Or you don't know this. Why were you even talking about it or whatever? Like, okay, fine. Like, so he doesn't feel like I'm worthy to waste all this time coming to my videos. But yet, for months now, he's come to my videos to preach atheism, abiogenesis, science, Zen Buddhism, and he continuously comes. That's fine. And I've, allowed all of his comments. I think there's still a few in the queue that are being held for review. But, I mean, as soon as I get to them, I'll approve them. But, I'm fine with him coming here. But why not do what I do? And this is what I told him here. I'll pull this up. I said, oh yeah, he tells me how Zen Buddhism is not a theory. He tells me I don't even know what a theory is. And I showed him from the dictionary what a theory is. From the dictionary, a supposition or a system of ideas intended to explain something, especially one based on general principles of the thing to be explained. It has nothing to do with scientific theories. Theory is in itself definition without science or anything formal involved. A theory is just as it says in the dictionary, and I showed him that. But anyway, getting on to that point about giving him motivation to do something positive with all this knowledge. I mean, he says he has a ton of this knowledge, and I think it's great. But, here's the thing. And I said, here's an idea. I have suggested this to you before. Instead of wasting time with someone that, quote, talks out of their behind or that is, quote, too stoned, unquote, or whatever. I mean, you could always do something more productive with your time and educate a more vast audience with your wisdom rather than wasting your time with someone who you believe doesn't understand. Here's what I do. If someone comes to me like you do to preach and insult and ask rhetorical questions, if I find any of the subject matter worth addressing, I make a video about it and I say it once and for all. Like when I make a video directly addressing you, or even my in-law who certainly has no interest in conversing or learning or sharing. I will make a video response and I will aim it for a completely different target than whose question I'm addressing. This way, what is said has a bit more value. What I would like to point out to you is that you often complain how much of a waste of time it is to come here and chat with me. Well, why do it? Why not start a video series on, quote, abiogenesis, unquote, or, quote, Zen Buddhism, unquote, or any of the number of other subjects that you claim to have expert level knowledge on? If I am a waste of time, that just goes to show that you are wasting time, and I would not consider that a smart move. For such a smarty pants, you have not done much of anything with your knowledge. Maybe it's time to start. And I said, as far as the topic of Zen Buddhism is concerned, that is all you, bro. The only thing that I have to discuss is that you doubt it is a theory. I proved otherwise. But Zen Buddhism is not my bag. I am not on a mission to convert the world to Zen Buddhism. I have learned enough about it to know it's definitely not my path. If it's your path, good on you, man. Now do something with your knowledge. For me, I went to school for network administration, and I did not waste a second of that education. I have worked in that field ever since I got out of school. I participated in productive activities with Fortune 500 companies, changing the world with my education. Network administration is my field. Apparently, Zen Buddhism or atheism or science is your field. What have you done with it? What productive activity have you participated in that you have applied all of this amazing knowledge with? Anything? I got this in-law that I referenced. He was talking about, oh, I'm going to be an educator, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to teach kids about science, and this is my goal. And while he's in school collecting student loans and whatever grants and getting money to go to college, he's tattooing his hands with like anarchy signs and racking up criminal charges and restraining orders and just being crazy. Like, he's got no focus. Like, he goes to school and he's got this goal that he says is to be an educator, be a teacher. But then he totally throws it away by tattooing himself. I mean, what school is going to hire a guy that's a role model like this that, has destroyed his body with homemade tattoos, visible homemade tattoos on his hands and his arms and all these visible places? And then, the criminal record. I mean, who's going to want, somebody near children that has a, violent past or a past with such things as terroristic threats and phone harassment and false accusations and all these things? I mean, it's the fact that they have no focus. I call them internet atheists because I'm sure there's atheists out there that just are who they are, and they're not out to, cause harm, and they're not out there to insult people, and they're not out there to, change everybody over to atheism. They just don't believe in God, and they move on with their life. But it's these religious people that are obsessed with, Christianity. They say, I'm not going to let religion rule my life. I'm free of religion. But then every single day of their life, they have religion ruling their life because that's all they talk about. That's all they talk about. I mean, if science is your bag, go write some peer-reviewed work. Go do some research, go publish it, have it peer-reviewed, and maybe you'll change the world. Or create something, patent it, improve the world in that way, whatever it is that you're inventing or researching or developing. Do something with it, I mean, anybody can get a patent. You don't need an education for that. You can go out and you can discover something. You can research something. I'm doing some of that right now myself, and I am working on a patent. But you can do that without any kind of, credentials or authority or education. People with no education, high school dropouts, have had amazing patents. I mean, look at Steve Jobs. He didn't graduate college. Bill Gates. So many people that are, changing the world that didn't even graduate college, or some of them didn't even graduate high school. Dave Thomas, the owner of Wendy's, he's dead now, rest in peace, but he had no high school education. He could barely read. He was dyslexic and stuff, but he was a high school dropout. Multi-hundred millionaire, I mean, he had so much money, he didn't know what to do with it. And he changed the world. He left his mark on the world. Now, maybe you'll argue whether it was good or bad, but, he left his mark. People know who this guy is. And, he helped a lot of charities. He helped a lot of people. Do something with your life. Don't piss it away by arguing with somebody that you don't think is worthy. Peace.